So Darius, I know there's also something that you got some info on is the Danny Ferry situation.
Yeah, absolutely. If for anybody out there listening that doesn't really know what's going on, I say about last week, the owner of the Hawks, Bruce Levinson, came out and it surprised everyone. Said he was going to sell his team, and he had a whole email chain came out about how he was kind of saying how it's too many black fans basically at games and they're scaring away, the white fans and everything like that. And that's a quick paraphrase. I encourage you to read it instead of listening to how I say it because I'm not doing it true justice. He did have some legit points in there, but at the same time it was like it wasn't Donald Sterling bad, but it wasn't good. Good thing for it to come out either. And then he said he was going to sell the team. But then after that, the GM of the Hawks, Danny Ferry, it was revealed that he ended up making some comments in a public conference call around team executives regarding Luol Deng this past summer when they were considering him as a free agent. And a quote that really stood out about Luol, he said, quote, "He has a lot of African in him, not in a bad way, but he's like a guy who would have a nice store out front but would sell you counterfeit stuff out the back." And that's the end of that quote. And he went on to say how Luol Deng is kind of two-faced in the locker room. When a story or when in the locker room around the players, he would talk about how he keep everything in the locker room, but then he could end up being that unnamed anonymous source and where the story comes out. And quite frankly, I don't know where he's getting this from. As far as I've ever heard about Luol Deng, he has good character, is well respected around the league, and he basically gave his life on the line for basketball because remember he had that spinal tap around like 2 years ago. And so I don't really know where that's coming from. Luol Deng came out and said that he has a lot of African in him, not a little, and he wasn't, of course, too pleased with the comments. But I just wanted to go ahead and really bring this up because today, Danny Ferry, people have been saying he should be fired. I personally believe he should be fired. But today, well, actually, no, let's back up a little bit. Before this, the CEO of the Hawks, Steve Koonin, said that Danny Ferry had been punished, but he didn't tell anybody what the punishment was. So we were waiting around. News comes out today that Danny Ferry gave himself an immediate leave of absence, which I still don't understand how you give yourself a leave of absence. And then Steve Koonin approved it. And Adam Silver, the commissioner of the league, said that Danny Ferry shouldn't be fired because what he was reading was a scouting report and it wasn't something he made himself. I don't know if y'all heard the tape. The tape came out yesterday with Danny Ferry actually reading it out loud in a conference call, and there were other people around him that were laughing, so clearly they just thought it was all funny. I don't know what's funny about that, but that's not really the point here. So what do y'all really feel about Danny Ferry? Should he be fired or not? I personally feel like he should. And I feel like y'all probably don't feel the same way. So, I mean, what y'all feel about it?
Fired? Yes. To me, what he said is a lot worse than what the owner said. To the owner, I want more context to see if that was a business email. I mean, to me, that's what, and I think Wilbon brought it up, because it sounded like a business email with the owner.
Oh, yeah, it was, yeah.
Like this, because I don't know what goes on in Atlanta sports. I'm not down there. I don't know what their season ticket, how many people have season tickets, and if all that stuff. It seemed, like I said, it seemed more like a business. But I didn't hear the second part of that, of the
Danny Ferry.
The Danny Ferry quote until you said it, and that just puts the icing on the cake of that. Okay, there's something more than this. To me, Ferry is between Sterling and, well, he's a little bit behind Sterling, but far from. I give, and you might disagree, Darius, but I give a little bit of pass to the owner of the Hawks. It was 2012, and I didn't see anything too bad with it. I thought it was more of a concern of trying to make money and try to make a product good for Atlanta. But yeah, he should be fired. And I think he's taken an absence. But I heard that him and the owner were buddies, and since he's on his way out, then he kind of knows that he's on his way out. Oh yeah,
he probably will be too.
When a new owner comes in,
he wants his own guy.
Buddies that you're going to be fired, and they're going to probably bring in a new GM anyway. So. Yeah, to me, he should be fired.
I think just from this one incident, he shouldn't be fired, but I look at it like this, where there's smoke, there's fire, so I'm sure this wasn't the first time he's done something like that. So, if you dig deep enough, I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to find another incident. If there are repeat offenses, then yeah, he should definitely be gone. And I kind of agree anyway. He's probably on his way out anyway with the owner stepping down and selling the team. And I think it was actually Mike Wilbon, who you guys have already quoted for this story, who said on PTI when the story first broke in regards to the owner that Wilbon, I don't remember the exact words he said, but it was something along the lines of at least the owner of the Hawks had a point because ticket sales have been down every single year in Atlanta, so there's actual data to back up his claim, whether it's correct or not. Obviously, I mean, you can never prove that.
Yeah.
But, so I think at least he handled it the right way. He kind of admitted he messed up and stepped down from the team. He's going to sell the team even though he's going to make a lot of money. I heard right now the offer is probably like $600 million to $1 billion right now because the Clippers went for what, $2 billion?
Yeah.
But he's not he's just doing his share, right?
His majority share.
Yeah, but he's a majority.
Oh, he's a majority.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why he's the owner, because he has the
Okay.
majority share. It's just like why Jordan's the owner of the Bobcats. He doesn't own all the shares, but he's the majority owner, so therefore
Okay.
he is the owner of the team.
I thought he was in with a group and they
No.
were all 50-50, but he was more the
yeah.
business of he was the on hands person and the other people like fronted money.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he's the
Yeah, he's the majority.
owner.
And to go to Luol Deng, when he was a Bulls, he was probably when I still cheered when I cheer for NBA here and there. He was one of my favorite Bulls because he shot the ball great and he played hard. And I never saw a mean bone in his body. I mean, he has he had a couple teams, yeah, but I mean you can say that about a lot of people. But it seems like he's loved everywhere he goes. He was loved in Cleveland for a short
Yeah.
time, and now he's going to be loved down in Miami because he's going to have to take some of the brunt of no LeBron down there.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the GM was getting that, and I don't even know how that can be part of a scouting report.
Exactly. That part doesn't make sense. But the real thing to me that I've heard that really just bothers me because it just stands out basically as stupid, and not calling you stupid, man, not at all. But the statement itself that I've seen a lot of people say this, that he shouldn't be fired because this is a one-time thing. That's stupid to me because at this point right now I'm 22 years old, right? I have never committed like a real crime in my life. But if I stab one of y'all, I'm going to go to jail. I can't tell the judge, oh, don't put me to jail because this is my first time stabbing anybody. I don't have a history of this. It doesn't matter whether or not he has a history. If you do something stupid enough the first time, you should lose your job. I agree with you, Ryan, that the owner himself, I don't agree that he should have to sell the team. I don't think that was that big to sell the team. I think maybe an apology is fine enough for that.
You haven't heard a huge uproar about
Yeah,
it.
and he
There's
said,
more on the GM.
and the stuff that he said, like I said, he made some good points. He didn't say it necessarily correctly, and he made some stuff in there talking about how a lot of black people are there, and some of them, it's not a lot of father and sons, it's a fatherless thing, and that I really didn't like that part too much. But for the most part, he was just kind of ignorant, but I wouldn't say that's like a racist statement. I mean, everybody has some type of ignorance in them, even me. I've said stupid stuff on this air before. I said something stupid last week to something about college football. But I mean, so I probably done said something stupid today too. Who knows? But I mean, everybody makes a mistake, and I'm not trying to make it seem like Danny Ferry, mistake is bigger than everybody's. But I feel like it's a certain level of mistakes that should be punished depending on the position that you're on. And for him to make a statement like that, and then they basically acting like it's fine. I haven't heard him make an apology. Now all of a sudden he's taking a leave of absence, but we still haven't heard a statement from him. Supposedly he called Luol Deng agent. Well, it doesn't really mean nothing now. It's too late. You already made the statement. How about you don't say it in the first place? So that really to me just stood out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really know why that would be on a
Yeah,
report.
but still, what does that even mean? He has a lot of African in him. Does that help your post game, or like does your jumper get better?
Maybe it's jumping and I don't know.
Who knows?
I really don't know. Apparently, he said it has something to do with the store. You sell fake.
Yeah,
clothes in the
right.
store.
And the counterfeit stuff out the back. I didn't know if that had something to do with like missing layups or something. I didn't know what the counterfeit part had to do with anything.
I don't know.
I
Like I
don't.
said, don't know how you can.
All I know is if a lot of African is what helps you get to the NBA, somebody inject me with some more. Then maybe I need some more so I can get there. That's what it takes. I don't know what that means.
I mean, Allen Iverson is retired now, so you can take some of his, I guess.
like some bone marrow or something.
That's your boy. You'd be like, Allen, I could be the reincarnation of you.
Exactly. Just give me some of his hair power. We just transfer it over.
Braids.
Yeah, just transfer it. If I get his hairstylist, that's the key that I'm missing right now. That's all it is.
And you need to sleeve. Get the sleeve. And
I can't do the sleeve. I can't do the sleeve all the way. I can't copy everything. I got to be the left hand wonder that I truly am. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that. But yeah, so I was confused when I saw this by everything. I just didn't think there was a place really for either of them, and it's a little troubling that this is coming up a lot now, especially in the NBA front office, where it is predominantly black athletes who are in the NBA, and that's a little worrisome. Obviously, an emphasis on the sarcastic little, but it's kind of like, what do you expect if you're an owner of these teams? Like, if you have those feelings, then why own an NBA team is my question to you, I guess. So, what do you guys, is there any step Adam Silver and the NBA can take to try and prevent this or change attitudes if more people feel like this in NBA front offices?
I don't think it can necessarily be prevented. There are going to be white people who have negative things to say about black people. There's going to be black people that have negative things to say about white people, and a lot of it really will make no sense. Yeah. So, I mean, it just happens that some of those, the white people are just in a position of power, but I don't think you can really prevent that, because just as much as there are people who are saying negative things about players, I'm sure there are white owners in the NBA that, you know, don't say stuff like that. So I don't think you can prevent it. Adam Silver, I felt like should have said Ferry should be fired. Yeah. But I mean, besides that, I don't really think it's nothing really he can prevent. That's something that goes on with the individual.
Yeah, it's not like what the NFL has a problem with right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people's opinions, and some are in business sense, some are just stupidity. Yeah. And if you're gonna try to do something like this, then why don't you? I mean, if people are gonna have to force the step out, then why can't players be held accountable for the same thing with the whole what Paul George said? He's not gonna be held accountable. Do you see him being fined? Do you see him being anything? I mean, he's out for the year anyway, but you're not gonna see anything like that. And he made a comment probably just as bad, but in a different aspect of a problem. So I don't see you can do anything. I don't say Adam Silver can say, hey, if this happens, you're going to be fined this or that. It just can't happen. It's just going to be on a case by case. You're going to see what they say, what the context of it, and I think that's the big thing, is that we need to find what it was said in the context. Was it a business email that was sent to another owner and other things that a real concern to help boost up Atlanta or boost up a town's to get fans in there, or if it was just something stupid that just doesn't need to be part of the NBA or part of the United States culture.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Darius, I think you made a good point too about just stereotypes in general are always going to be there, because I remember a couple years ago when David Lee made the All-Star game, it was like 2011. He was the first white American to make the All-Star game since Mike Miller in 2002, and they ran a whole piece about white players in the NBA, and I think there was some anonymous GM who said that, we stray away from taking white guys because they traditionally are not athletic and can't play defense. So, I mean, you're always going to have stereotypes.
Yeah.
You know, Europeans, the stereotype with them is what? They're soft.
Yeah.
They're not, they're not going to bang in the paint. All the big European big guys are just going to sit outside and take jump shots. Right. White guys, all we're out there for, in college, they say, is to raise the GPA is the joke. And to shoot free throws and threes, and now we have obviously all the racism. Apparently, black guys have African in them. Yeah. That's a measurable thing now for basketball. So I think you're always going to have these stereotypes. It's just, I think, like Darius, I think you hit it right on the head. There's always going to be ignorance. Everybody's going to be at least a little bit ignorant. Yeah. And I just think people need to be educated. It's just, like you said, Ryan, the country needs to be educated. And normally when you see stuff like that, it's from uneducated people.
And it's changing. You're dealing with people that have been around through the 60s and 70s with the race riots and the marches and all that stuff, and where civil rights took a huge step, you still have people 20 years from now, it's probably going to be completely different because you're going to have our generation coming up, and we're going to be. I think it'll be better. I think we're going to be. Different. It's not going to be completely different. There's going to be more of an understanding.
I'm not sure about that, and this is something that Bomani Jones has talked about a lot. I kind of agree with him on this because we're talking about people who have been exposed. It's a lot of people, black and white, that have prejudices that are speaking that stuff, and their kids are hearing it, and their kids are going to grow up. That's our generation that's feeling that the same way. So I don't think it's necessarily going to get better. I don't think it's going to change at all because it is really not. And then especially as we are in a social media age and everything is coming out, the difference right now is that stuff is just getting exposed more.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that basically we're hearing right now, if it's between Ray Rice, if it's between Danny Ferry, if it's between anything, this has been happening for a while now. It's just coming out more now because people is getting exposed with social media, and it's like every second there's some new type of news that's being broken. So I don't think it's going to get any better. I think this is the status quo, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.